Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Blake Rydell. I'm hanging out with my brother here on Twin Talk, and today we're talking about some of the hottest topics in politics. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Well, I don't know if you've been watching the news lately.
I have been.
But there's been a little bit of a battle going on that not a lot of people are aware of.
Yeah. Well, I've been watching the news, first of all, pretty often because that's one of the only things to do right now. Playing video games, watch the news, I don't know, eat. Maybe that's why I'm gaining a little bit of weight. But, there's definitely a little bit of a battle, and that's actually due to the coronavirus. One of the things that's been going on is that the governors believe that they have the right to reopen the economy, and the President of the United States believes that he has his own right to kind of dictate over them the terms of when they can and can't open their state economies and what type of businesses are included and not. So this is something that's interesting, and just to set the table a little bit, Donald Trump is conservative. Obviously, he's Republican, and this is a weird issue and weird time to be discussing this because Republicans are now trying to say that he has executive power to do this. Meanwhile, Republicans are also the same people who would say that states, it all goes back to states' rights. States should have the terms of what abortion is legal or not. States should be able to go and kind of dictate their gun laws and all that stuff as long as it's, protected under our amendments. So it is a weird situation to be in, considering that the parties have almost flip-flopped. Kind of on what they've been discussing. So.
And to me, I think it's strange. And I say this because if you go back to some of the first weeks of press coverage, there wasn't enough tests, there wasn't enough PPE or personal protection gear, there wasn't enough gloves or masks, which there still is a shortage of. But you go back to that, and what was Donald Trump saying at that point?
Well, I think he was just saying that, that we'll get there. That,
right. But his whole overall argument was, well, that's up to the states. Andrew Cuomo, he could have bought 14,000 ventilators, but he didn't. He passed on it, which is a valid point, right? Now it goes back to the same issue of states versus federal government. And like I said, he was so for states figuring out what they want to do. I'm not going to force any state to do anything. All the states can do whatever they want. Now, yesterday, we declared a 50 statewide, basically national emergency. Mm-hmm. And it's the first time in history that we've ever done that. And now there's argument to whether the president can open up the economy with his presidential authority, or if governors have to open up their state economy on an individual basis, maybe on a basis depending on when the curve peaks.
It is ironic.
Interesting and ironic.
It is ironic because here's the thing is, for example, New York City and New York in general, the whole state, should have bought their own ventilators. Oh my gosh. But then the federal government's like, oh wait, hang on, we got you. We'll start shipping them over. So now the question is, I think at least from a public eye and just from being a normal guy, this isn't a CNN opinion, this isn't a Fox News opinion, this is a Twin Talk opinion. Exactly.
Yeah.
My Twin Talk opinion on this is just guys, figure it out. Whoever's the best suited to do the job, just let it get done. Everyone wants to open the economy. I don't care if it's Cuomo. For all I care, Obama could come back and open the economy. As long as someone's here to open the economy and do it safely, but where in a way where we can continue our prosperity that we're on, beforehand, that upward track. I think that's what's most important. And I think the reason why Trump is now kind of saying this is because he saw the massive failure of some of the states. Is there a reason why New York City is being hit with more deaths than anywhere else? Is it just because that just happened to be one of the first places that dealt with the disease? Or is it because they didn't have enough ventilators, which would lie on their state government? Or is it just because of unknown reasons, diseases? You can't really stop where exactly they spread. And I think New York City was kind of the first place hit. So I think it's all those factors. But again, I think now Trump is kind of arguing hey, the states sucked the first time around. Do you want them to suck again? Because I can get this rolling. So I'm not Team Trump on this one by any means. I think that states, they really do have a lot of rights that should be, I guess, expanded more, where the states have power to do a lot of their things. But especially in a time like this, you would think that if you're receiving federal assistance, that the government basically dictates the terms. So that's what I would say.
I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday. When we talked about the difference between the federal system, the state system, the county system, and the city systems, the cities. There's different restrictions that are held in each one of them. For example, in New York, it's hard to legally carry a firearm.
Yeah.
That is a restriction that the city voted for, but it's also at the same time against your Second Amendment rights of the Constitution. So which one wins? Well,
I would say the Constitution.
We don't know, right? The Constitution's supposed to win, but why are there these restrictions then? I think really it boils down to the same part. I think that ultimately the Founding Fathers wanted for states to hold the federal government accountable. I mean, when we were created, we were 13 colonies, and each one of them was a separate governing body. Yeah. And in some ways that continued up until after the Civil War even.
Well, think about even nowadays, we have traditions. The State of the Union. The key word isn't state. Like, yeah, the State of the Union could be great or awful.
Right.
It's union. Union means to come together. Like, whenever you go into a union of marriage, you're uniting. That's where the word literally comes from. Union. Union workers, for example.
Yeah.
They're uniting into one force that is stronger together than apart. So, with that being said, you have to keep in mind, like, the federal government is too strong, in my opinion. I think state and local governments are too strong. But if everything was based off of, like, constitutional rights, I think that, again, it should just be whatever gets your rights the most protected and does the best job.
Yeah, and I do agree with you. I will say, I kind of want to hit on that point that you mentioned earlier. The federal government is there to hold states accountable, like it did during the Civil War. The states are there to hold the federal government accountable whenever there's trespasses against our civil rights, our civil liberties. And to me, I think you hit the nail right on the head whenever you said, the federal government has too much power. The state government has too much power. The county government has too much power. And you go all the way down. I mean, you think about it, a lot of, for example, city work is crony capitalism.
Yeah.
You have to buy water, right? But you can only buy it from our city. You have to get the trash collected, but you can only get it collected from our city. And even if you don't use it, you're going to get a tax. Oh, and by the way, you're going to get a property tax so that we can fund our schools.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to work like that. And I think that we've seen really, in some ways, a beautiful system because it's taken time for it to evolve and get to this point where a lot of countries turn like the light switch. For example, Venezuela. They went from one of the richest, most capitalistic societies on earth to a socialist deathbed. I mean, people are just dying over there because they're hungry, because they're fighting over food, because they're fighting over resources. I think part of our broken system is the fact that it takes so long for things to change, but I think that is ultimately highlights why our system does need changing.
Well, and I think I'm looking at our microphone batteries. They're about ready to die. So we'll get right back to this, and we're going to take a quick break. But the one thing I will say is, like, I don't think the system is broken. I think this is what the system was made to be like. There's always the states going against the union. There's always the union looking out for the states. And I don't think the system is broken. I think it's the politicians within it that's broken.
Right.
So, anyways, all right. I'm going to change out this battery real quick. Alrighty, guys. So we're back, and we actually are going to continue our conversation a little bit. What I would say is, again, the politicians are really the part that's broken. I think that lobbying is a big part of that too. Like, oh, I'm so-and-so, and I was a congressman. I know how the system works, and now I'm lobbying for oil company A, or, whatever you really want it to be. And that is, like, all of a sudden the best thing ever, where politicians are getting paid kind of to swing their vote, and it's not right, and it's technically, like, illegal, and you can't bribe someone, but it happens all the time. And I think that's the part of the system that's broken the most. I think Obviously, we need term limits. I think if the President of the United States can only serve 8 years, then why is it possible that you could basically be the Speaker of the House as long as you have the majority till the end of time? I mean, look at Nancy Pelosi. She's been there forever. And I'm not saying that your length of time in serving makes you more or less in tune with the American people, you know, because especially with them, they get elected like constantly nonstop. But it just is, I think, a disgrace that the government has become so self-serving and not really serving the people at all. And that's not a Republican or Democrat viewpoint, because the Democrats, they'll tell you the same thing. They'll be like, man, these Republicans, I mean, all the way back to Newt Gingrich and all the way to John Boehner, all these guys are millionaires, and they're doing it. Well, guess what? It's both sides.
Yeah, and I think that's where some of the rhetoric comes from, draining the swamp. We want to drain the swamp. We want to limit the amount of time that people spend there.
Yeah.
It brings me back to about a year ago when we interviewed Representative Dennis Ross.
Mm-hmm.
He was fresh out of Congress, I mean, within maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In fact, he flew down not too much before we interviewed him.
Yeah, and a matter of fact, if you want to watch the interview, we'll put a link below. I don't know which side of the screen it's going to be on, but it's a cool interview. And so I know kind of where you're going with this.
Yeah, and he served, I believe it was 8 years.
I think so, yeah.
I believe it was 8 years.
4 terms, 8 years.
4 terms,
like
8 years. As you know, the House of Representatives have elections every 2 years. Everybody's up for grabs. He could have easily won his district again here in Central Florida, very conservative area. He could have easily went back to D.C., but what he told us in a private conversation and then in our interview is that he was tired of it. He was tired of the politics. He was tired of having to answer for every little thing that he did. And really, he wanted to help people. That's what his whole goal was. It was to help people. So he went back to our university, our alma mater, Southeastern University, and he's now a professor there teaching political sciences and law and constitutional law, that sort of thing. But what strikes me is I think he realized, and this is just an inference, but I think he realized that he couldn't help people anymore in Washington. That it takes...
He had to leave Washington to go help people.
Leave Washington to help people.
And it's I wouldn't put those words in his mouth. Like, I don't think he would phrase it that way.
No.
I think what he was really trying to say is that, you know, in Washington, D.C., you go and you start off and you're the good guy. You're just a guy coming in and you're of the people and for the people, by the people. And I think as you're, you know, in his case, as your time limit goes on and you continue to spend more time doing the political game, it starts becoming a charades of who's doing what, who's doing this, and that's cool. It's great for a TV show like House of Cards or Game of Thrones. That's great, but playing political games helps no one, and it doesn't help the person back in his county that voted for him or didn't vote for him. It means absolutely nothing, because 90% of this stuff we just sit here and argue and we say you're xenophobic, you're racist, you're a bigot, you're all these things, and he wasn't. But his party is, you know, if you told someone that he was a Republican and there would be someone, the blue-haired girl, as TikTok would like to say it, runs up to him in Publix and is protesting because she's vegan, this and that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just...
Yeah, or how dare you believe in the Bible and not science? Yeah. When in fact the Bible is backed up by science.
Well, yeah.
That sort of thing.
And so there's things like that, and I think that the more that goes on, it's just... It's incredible to see where our political system is. And and it's also sad that Republicans or Democrats... I know that we label people by their parties and we try to label them by their beliefs, and I think that labeling, you know, is wrong. I think that we need to hear out each individual. And I know personally, like, sometimes there'll be a Democrat and you automatically think, oh, heavy spender, or oh, this and that, or more government, more control. And then, like, I just you know, I have met the Democratic mayor of, you know, where we live up here, and he's the nicest guy, and he's actually, you know, pretty small government. Yeah. He's not like some tyrant, you know what I'm saying? So basically what I'm trying to say is I think we need to evaluate policy by the need for the policy, not for the need for the politics so that something gets passed.
Right. I'd agree with you there. And I would also say that to kind of build off of your point, we went to church with the mayor of our little small town that we grew up in South Florida. It's not a small town anymore, but it's still a tight-knit community.
Yeah.
And we would talk to the mayor, very nice guy, very successful businessman. My parents are Republicans and would always vote for Republicans and argue for Republican kind of talking points. And yet they would go and vote for this guy. And they voted for him year after year. And in fact, I went and I voted for him. And I'm a pretty well-informed guy, I would like to think. Well, I went and voted for him. And whenever they said, go vote for this guy. And as we're going down the ballot, I see a D by his name. A Democrat. I go, whoa, what am I going to do? This is crazy. Of course, I still voted for him because he's a good guy. But to your point, I think that we look at a lot of labels. We look at a lot of positions, which, again, we talked about yesterday. We should look at some labels because it's for the ease of conversation. We should look at some positions because if somebody achieves something, you want them to have that position. But it's a problem when there's inequality in respect.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. For the most part, you know what you're getting with a Republican. It's someone who claims to be a small spender, small government person,
and then spends $2.2 trillion.
Yeah, they flip flopped since Obama's been out. It doesn't matter how much we spend. It's great.
Everybody likes spending.
And now the Democrats are the ones who are upholding the Constitution with the impeachment. The whole dilemma.
Yeah.
That was a complete joke. Obviously, I think most Americans, regardless of what side you're on, knows that was a complete joke. So you have all that going on. And so, yes, there are some assumptions that you can make. Usually a Democrat's going to be pro-choice and, a conservative is going to be pro-life, things like that. But overall, you don't really, that's where, again, it comes down to respect. If I see a Democrat in the grocery store, which, again, we see Democrats every day in life.
Some of my best friends are Democrats.
Yeah, and I'm not going to, tear out their hair and call them an orange man. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's something that's important is we need to learn how to have balance from both sides of the parties, too, because Republicans, they were going to say, oh, well, we didn't hate Obama because of his race necessarily. Well, I know some that did,
Right.
So I think it's a balance of what we need, and I think coming together as a country will help that. And it goes back all the way to our original argument that Republican, Democrat, governor, or president, I really don't care what your title is. I care what your actions will be. So show us something. Come on, Washington, D.C., and come on, every state capital.
Speaking of titles, there's two people left in the running for president, two realistic options between the two major parties. The Democrat, Joe Biden, and obviously the incumbent, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that earlier today, did you see the Obama endorsement
I did.
Of Joe Biden?
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about that? Why did it take so long for Obama to support Joe Biden? And what does this mean for the political future of Obama? Is he trying to be endorsing him for maybe a Supreme Court nomination?
Well, that's interesting. That's, I think, one of the first things that a lot of people think about. They think of his law background, and they think of how well-spoken and articulate he is. Like, the man can speak, and he brings down the house and all that. And I think a lot of people would say, Obama's not that old.
No.
Yeah, he's
older.
He's not a prime age,
late 50s.
The new movement has been let's try to get 40 and 50-year-olds in there, and they'll sit there for 40 years.
Right.
And so good luck to the next party who needs to replace them. So I think that's been the movement, but that's not to say that it isn't a possibility. Obama's well respected for most Democrats, although Bernie Bros and some of them think that he's too Republican, too conservative. So, that is a possibility. I think the reason why it took so long is because I don't think Obama is necessarily as political as he leads on now. You don't need... for example, was George Bush right back behind Mitt Romney in 2012? This guy is a hero.
Not necessarily.
And no one blamed him for that. Now, again, Mitt Romney wasn't George Bush's vice president either.
Right.
Imagine if that was Dick Cheney. We don't know. But I think it's just because the buddy-buddy relationship was never really what it was meant to be. Everyone's saying Uncle Joe and Barry, that the two cool guys. And I think that a lot of that was disingenuous, where it wasn't really real, and it was kind of stirred up.
Kind of a media show.
Yeah. To make them look like we're heroes. And I think part of it, too, is, their differences. One is an old white guy who came from, the union type of labor, and the other one was a revolutionary figure of Obama, the first black president, a history maker, a trailblazer, well articulate, and all these things. You mash them together, and I think that they kind of created an unstoppable force. But what's Obama going to get out of it now?
Yeah,
maybe that's why he was waiting. Maybe he was like, "Hey, Joe, listen, I'm going to need something from you." And Uncle Joe, like I said yesterday,
he always
like,
delivers.
It's me, Uncle Joe. You don't got to worry about it, Obama. I got you. And that's only if Joe wins. Maybe Obama was waiting because he did want something in return. Who knows what it was? It could be a birthday party for one of his daughters, for all I know.
At the White House.
Maybe he was like, man, dude, so if I endorse Joe Biden, then I have to backtrack if he loses, and then I don't endorse Sanders? How does that look for our party?
Right.
Or maybe he's like, man, I really want to endorse Kamala Harris early on. She's cool. She's, everything that I think should be in a candidate. But oh man, now she doesn't win, and now I can't get anything in return. So it's always game politics. Who knows what it is, but that's what I know.
There's a lot of speculation, and it is exactly what you say it is. It is speculation. Personally, my belief is that Obama thinks that Joe is probably too old. Yeah. He's probably kind of losing his mind a little bit just because of, he is aging. He's 78 years old, and he's not necessarily a safe pick anymore. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, Democrats have been known for their safe pick. They usually sometimes pick a minority. They pick somebody who's revolutionary, but cool to young kids, cool to the younger generation. We want to get the young kids out to vote. We see people supporting mail-in ballots, that sort of thing. No voter ID, right?
Yeah.
Joe Biden, I don't think necessarily agrees with them on any of that. I think that he says it now because it's politically expedient, because it helps him and it helps his campaign, it helps his case for president. But I don't necessarily believe that in his heart he believes it. I think Barack Obama knows that. They've spent a lot of time together as president and vice president. And to be honest with you, I don't think that Obama really thinks that Joe Biden is a respectable candidate, to be completely honest. I don't think it has anything to do personally. I think he probably loves Joe. I can tell you Joe probably loves him, and he probably loves Obama-Biden Democrats, but he doesn't love the campaign, and I don't think he loves the current state that Joe is in. He's falling apart. He's held together by his staffers and duct tape and WD-40.
And online interviews with Obama and
from his
Sanders,
basement.
Right? Yeah. And, that's something that is true. Let's also not, again, let's just simplify this. We talked look at the stats, look at the polls. By the way, the polls say that, Trump and Biden are actually a lot closer when you go among registered voters. Not likely voters, registered ones that are actually going to vote. Because you might likely vote, and
I'm likely to vote until
and I'm not going to go
to sign up.
Yeah,
and then whoops,
Then you don't care. Especially how many likely voters were likely Sanders voters, right?
Right.
That swings the margins. Which one would you rather have, generic Democrat or generic, Donald Trump? And then all of a sudden, now your guy's out of it. You're not likely to vote anymore.
Right.
Where does that swing the polls? I don't know. I'm not saying I'm a polling guy, but you can tell me. How many young people do you know? And I know a lot of young Democrats, okay? Most of them were my friends in high school.
Most of the people I know are young Democrats.
Yeah. So let's say, how many of those people are ecstatic to go out there and vote for Joe? I can't think of one person.
None in my mind. And look, this Obama thing, this Obama endorsement, comes even after Sanders endorsed him yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Sanders dropped out a week before. Obama has had a year to conjure up something to support. He could have supported Joe Biden during any step of the race, beginning, middle, end. It would have been respectable. He even let the guy who dropped out a week before come in and support him before he did. And being that Obama is the most popular man in America, tied with Donald Trump, by the way, which the media won't tell you because they hate him.
Well, that's how divisive...
And that's how polarized the country is.
That's how divided we are as a country. Yeah. Crazy.
He's tied with Donald Trump for the most admired man in America. And I actually believe he doesn't want to put that title up in the media because people don't like Joe Biden as much. They're not excited. And if he supported them, which now he does, he would have lost popularity with the young revolutionist, with the young socialist.
Yeah.
And even with
Also,
maybe some middle Democrats who say, man, this is ridiculous. The party's just going too left to begin with.
Think about Mitt Romney for Republicans. 2012, he was the man. It was like, yo, Mitt Romney, he's going to beat down Obama. This guy's the guy. He started Sports Authority, Bain Capital. This guy is amazing, right? And then all of a sudden, he kind of turns on the party a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now, all of a sudden,
he's talking tough
Mitt
against
Romney's
Donald Trump.
Awful. Mitt Romney, screw him, all this stuff. He voted for impeachment for one of the articles, this and that. Now, do I think it's because they have personal vendetta against each other? Yes. Okay, I do. But with that being said, I think Mitt Romney is kind of like the Obama. Like Obama doesn't want to do what Mitt Romney did and lose his base, because guess what? I can guarantee you no Republicans are going to sit there and watch the story of Mitt Romney ever again.
No.
I can tell you a lot of Democrats, they're going to see the Joe Biden endorsement. They'll be like, okay, I guess, because Biden was his vice president. But what's that do for Obama? He can't sell books off of this. You can't stream Netflix streams off of this.
It can only almost hurt him.
Unless
they'll use his clip. I'm just telling you, Donald Trump will use the clip of Obama supporting him half-heartedly, by the way, and use it against Joe Biden.
Yeah,
I'm just going to tell you.
It's going to be used as ammo for sure.
It's almost like Hillary Clinton when she said, like, what difference does it make?
Basket
how
of
they
deplorables.
kept using it. Oh, basket of deplorables. He's going to be like, Obama supports this guy? I thought Obama was smarter than that. We had our disagreements.
But wow.
He may have spied on me. He may have wiretapped my phones in Trump Tower for all I know or for all I care. But I thought he was smarter than that, at least, And to me, I think, honestly, this is my last thought on this. I promise you. But I think that this endorsement's coming at a time to help Biden and help wash away the sexual assault case, because we know Obama loves women, or at least women love Obama.
Yeah. That was a big part of the voting. I mean, look, 2008, McCain wasn't really going to win anyways. But
no.
In 2012, Mitt Romney was the guy that was supposed to swing women back over to the Republican Party.
Right.
Because he was kind of charming, good-looking guy.
Charming, good-looking, and
well-spoken as well.
Yeah.
So, but Obama...
Yeah,
man's got it.
Obama's got it.
Obama.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this just comes late because there was probably speculation whether he'd be on the top of the ticket or not still. Because of that. I think this washes that sin away, so to say.
Mm-hmm. And for a minute, this is a little bit off topic, but can we call out the media real quick for, their I cannot say the word.
Blatant hypocrisy.
That's right. That's what we need. That's why it's Twin Talk. We got it. But, can we call them out real quick? Like, back whenever Donald Trump was running $1 billion company, CNN, MSNBC would bring on these psychologists and say, the president is not stable. He's an egomaniac.
Yeah.
He's senile. He's losing his mind. He might have Alzheimer's, by the way. That's what they were saying, right?
Yep.
And it was like, this man's a billionaire. He's still doing deals while he's on the campaign trail. He's doing everything he could possibly need to
Funding his own campaign.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of that. He's a very high-functioning guy. And here we are saying, oh, he's senile. Joe Biden. Now, I'm not saying Joe Biden is or isn't. But I'm just going to say, I've saw some weird clips, and these are not like these fake edited clips on Twitter.
You know the thing. The thing.
Yeah, like that.
All men are created by the thing. Either he was scared to say all men were created by God, or he doesn't remember. And either way, it's scary.
Yeah, that is, either way, it's scary. But the main point of it is, like, he is so off track right now.
Yeah.
And I've never saw a candidate this unhinged, really. And the media hasn't said a thing. They're like, oh, Joe Biden is amazing. Could you imagine? Joe Biden legitimately has concerns that was completely fabricated about Trump. He legitimately has that, and he legitimately has a rape charge. Like, that is like...
Sexual assault,
yeah,
not rape.
Well,
almost the same thing.
It's possibly going to become more or less. And the media's like, nah, man. And now, it could be because of coronavirus, but something tells me CNN's not going to push the guy that's trying to get rid of Trump on any of those topics.
No.
So.
No, and I think it's a valid point to note that if you look at some of the clips that they have of interviewing Joe Biden, they're all laughy, goofy, funny. Like, I saw that you logged into DJ so-and-so's live feed.
Yeah, like, that doesn't...
Mr. Biden, we love you, Mr. Biden. Like, and then I saw another one where they were interviewing, and this was one that had multiple sound clips. It was on MSNBC.
Gosh,
it was, thank
Scary.
you. No, thank you. Just a guy in his basement talking to a gal in hers. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, they went back and forth thanking each other for like 45 minutes. And this is for a guy who has new allegations against him. I don't think they're real, but... potentially. But no, there won't be any investigation. No, we rather investigate Russia. There won't be an investigation because we rather investigate Ukraine. We rather investigate coronavirus. We're setting up a 9/11 style investigation to investigate President Trump's response to coronavirus.
Yeah.
He responded before there was any cases in America.
Also,
I don't understand what more you can do.
Also, here's another thing. The media says there's been more deaths in America with corona than 9/11. How disrespectful to everyone who died and lost their life in 9/11 because of a corona. Like, they're going to compare that to coronavirus?
Right.
Last time I recall, 9/11, there were planes hijacked and brought into a building of people who had no chance to survive.
Right.
All they were trying to do is make money, go home to their family, live the American dream.
Right.
They never had a chance, and every single day after, there's been days wasted that could have been the newest thing. They could have had presidents in that building. We could have had doctors,
nurses,
lawyers, everything. And I'm not
financial
saying,
leaders.
And I'm not saying coronavirus
CEOs.
has taken that away. Like, I get that. It's coronavirus, the concept is the same. Like, oh, these people are helpless because of the government not doing their job. Both scenarios are similar with that.
Yeah.
But to compare a blatant Islamic attack versus coronavirus, man. Like, where does the media get that?
We're comparing something that could have been stopped, something that should have been stopped, by the way, to something that is a force of nature.
And that was unknown.
Unknown. This was unknown until December. And the only reason why it was unknown is because the Chinese and the WHO didn't tell us about it. Now, again... To me, that kind of sounds like a terrorist attack in its own right. And I will say, and this is a little bit off topic, but Wuhan, where the virus originated, there's also a genetic testing lab right across the street from the wet market that it came from. The guy ate a bat. Look, I don't know if the guy ate a bat or not. Nobody knows who Case Zero is.
He better have some good sauce, though, like barbecue sauce or like
it better have been worth it. I'm just telling you. Why are we siding with China on this? Well, I mean, CNN. Have you seen the CNN reports? Yeah. They're saying, oh, China is doing such a good job. They flattened the curve so early. They sent all the PPE, all the masks, all the N95 masks. Like,
I could literally do the science in China, I think. Like, literally, the scientists were like, oh, crap. We can't be executed or, like, exiled like these last people. So, oh, wait. Hey, look. Here's the curve. Oh, colored crayon. Oh, look. It's going down.
There's a organization that it's not associated with governments. I forget the name of it right now. We might be able to put it in the description or something.
Hey, maybe if I'm not lazy editing this.
We might be lazy. They're saying that there's upwards of 2.6 million cases of the virus in China, which actually to me even sounds lower. Although worldwide we've only had like 1.4 million cases of the virus, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing to me. We're gonna pretend like China has had less cases and less death than America.
In the place where it originated.
In the place where it originated. In the place where they didn't know it was happening. They didn't even let us know it was happening. and there's over 1 billion people in the country.
Yeah.
We have 350 million, maybe 375. Nobody's really sure. We're going to figure out when this next census comes back. How is it possible to compare the virus in America to China and have China have lower numbers? There's fishy reporting. There's fishy numbers. Everything is fishy about China. And to me, I think that we should take action against China by forgiving some of our national debt that they have and that they hold. Now,
I don't know.
Is it going to be international struggle? Yeah, but we need to do something for reparations for this.
I mean, yeah, I still wouldn't want to make them too mad because of every reason that you just cited. The billion population. Their military at one point in time had more people in their active military than our entire country now. I don't know if that's true anymore. Probably not. But I'm not so for or against taking action against China. I just think that more importantly, we have to realize, going back to this, at least in my opinion, that a disease is a disease, and so you can't really compare it to man-made, literal disasters and terrorist attacks. So that's on Fox News. Now that's not even on CNN. I saw that on Fox News, and I was like, that is so. What's the word?
Disingenuous.
But it's also. It's fear rattling.
Fear mongering.
Let's just strike fear in everyone. Try to think of the scariest time in your life. For most of you guys, if you're not younger than us, if you're older than us, that would be 9/11. So let's just compare it to the most scariest thing ever because...
sensationalism.
Yeah, just because. And on top of that, something that I think is crazy too is a lot of times everyone wants to compare look at the flu and look at corona and this and that and all that. Well, regardless, you don't shut down the country for the flu, and we lose 100,000 people every year or something like that.
It's anywhere from 20,000 to 100,000 depending on the severity of the strand.
So I just think it's kind of weird that the government's taking action. Maybe there's something, conspiracy theory, maybe there's something that they know that we don't.
The H1N1 virus, the swine flu, you guys remember, I was in middle school, actually.
They gave you the little thing,
the little
and
syringe
they put the shot in your nose?
Nasal mist or whatever they call it. Ooh,
I felt like I was felt violated after that.
I did too. I had a headache all day after that. And then I got sick right after, which was kind of not worth it because I kind of got what they were vaccinating me for anyways.
Yeah. But that's an unaccounted case though. Remember, no.
Yeah.
Slow the curve.
No, but there was more people who caught the swine flu in America than I think worldwide cases of coronavirus. Don't fact check me on that, but I believe it was in the tens of millions of people in America that got the swine flu. Now, I'm not saying that you can compare the two. You still can't compare the two. One has a way higher death rate, but with the amount of people who were exposed, I guarantee you that there was almost about the same amount of deaths. Some of them won't be listed within because they don't know if it's H1N1 or normal influenza. Now they won't know if it's coronavirus or if it was a pre-existing condition that was kind of inflamed by the virus, which would have been inflamed by any common cold. It's almost, it reminds me of how if you have AIDS or HIV, you
pneumonia.
died. Pneumonia. Yeah, you had pneumonia. I don't think we'll ever know the true vast amount of deaths or the lack of deaths because of it. So I don't think that it's fair to compare necessarily any viruses, which we don't really do here. But, in talking about it and talking about our past experiences, we do know that this is an issue that we have to resolve, and we're going to have to resolve it internationally because this came from China. This is the Chinese virus. There's nothing racist about it. I'm not Chinese myself. I know Chinese people. I know Chinese people who admit that it's the Chinese virus.
Well, I would say this though, and this is not to be liberal or to be so far left, but I think it's the insistence that it's the Chinese virus is the thing that agitates a lot of people. Because I know for me, listen, I don't care if it's Chinese. I don't care if it's American. I don't care if it's from New Zealand, right? I don't care where the disease is coming from. What I care about is your responsibility to try to step up to the plate and stop it. Now, whenever Trump goes up and he's like, oh, the Chinese virus, this is Chinese. I'm not saying that he's not wrong, because he's right. It is from China. We've discussed that. But, like, the way that you kind of, like, said it and the way that he says it, I think it's forcefully, like, oh, don't blame us. Like, even if we lose 1 million people, it's Chinese.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if people want to hear that.
I'm not going to lie. We do have our disagreements on Twin Talk. I think you're dead wrong.
But I'm just saying.
And this is why I'm saying it, because it came from China. They knew about this. They didn't let the rest of the world know. There's been hundreds of thousands of deaths on their hands, okay? We can debate whether or not that's true, or the World Health Organization. We'll leave that for the media. I just want to say the Chinese virus, there's nothing inherently racist by saying that's the Chinese virus. Why? Because of the Spanish flu outbreak in 1917, 1918, and, beyond that. How is it racist to call something the Chinese virus, and then we sit back and call the Spanish flu the Spanish flu? But why does it matter?
But I think the Spanish flu was kind of because, again, I saw this on TV, so who knows if it's true or not, but there's kind of like 2 incubation periods, right? So the first one was just like being diagnosed as the flu, and some people started calling it the Spanish flu, but it was the second time around, whenever it left its original geographic location and came to America, came to other places, that's when it was the Spanish flu, because it was already identified. And I'm not saying that, the coronavirus is not. Like, yes, it was been identified, and it was in China, and China shut down the government. By the way, pretty ironic, because I thought, China's overreacting. They just look communist. They're communist. And then we did the same thing. So, oops. But with that being said, like, I don't care. Again, most people don't care. Like, you can call it Spanish flu, or the scientific name. You can call coronavirus, COVID-19, Chinese virus, Wuhan virus.
All I'm saying,
I don't think it's wrong to call it that. I think he's right. Like, yeah, this is from China, and China should bear some responsibility for the fact that they didn't report it. Like, if the United States did that, China would be like, what the heck? What's going on? But it's not the Chinese virus. It's a worldwide virus now.
Okay.
So we just gotta accept it for what it is.
Now it is, but people are calling it COVID-19.
But it doesn't matter.
Listen, we're just talking about a name here. I'm not talking about whether it's the Chinese virus or not. It does originate in China. You can call it whatever you want.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's blatantly ironic that the media compares this virus to the pandemic of 1917, 1918, in which the Spanish flu infected the world.
That's hypocritical from CNN.
This is the outbreak of 2020, in which the Chinese virus, COVID-19, infected the world. There's just no other alternative.
The last thing I'll say is, let's say you have a family member that dies because of COVID-19, and you walk out of the hospital and you go turn on the TV, and the first thing you hear is like, "Oh, don't blame anyone. It was China." Like, I'm not saying that he's wrong, but there's a time where you've got to stop scapegoating, and that's not to diss Trump. Like, man, dude, like, there's so many things that he gets blamed for that isn't his fault. For example, coronavirus. That's not his fault. They said, Dr. Fauci shut down the economy even faster, and Fauci was like, oh yeah, well, no, because you were the one who literally told him not to. Don't blame it on Trump. Don't blame any of this on Trump. But let's not play the blame game. I'd rather do the healing. I
wanna kind of shift the conversation a little bit about Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's with the NAI, whatever it is, for allergies and infectious diseases. Did you know that Donald Trump yesterday tweeted a tweet that had the hashtag
Fire Fauci?
Fire Fauci.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? How do you think that that's going to affect their relationship moving forward? Maybe the coronavirus response moving forward? Although this is on the wind down, I think that maybe a potential flare between Fauci and Trump could affect not only our public health, but maybe potentially the markets and the health of the Dow.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. Fauci doesn't like Trump. Trump doesn't like Fauci. They're working together because they both love the country. I don't think Fauci's an evil guy. Mm-mm. I don't think Trump's an evil guy. With that being said, I think the reason why this is going to be so interesting to see what happens is because I think Fauci thinks, since he's the expert, that he is entitled to his opinion and he's the one who can roll out the economy. It's like, bro,
yeah, that he gets.
That's great that you know about allergies. I'm so happy that you know about COVID-19, and I hope that you can help us out. But and by the way, it doesn't take an expert to say, like, hey, wear a face mask in public.
Yeah.
Anyone in the world pretty much could have told you that.
Please wear a face mask.
That's been through something like this before.
Just
you know?
do it. Yeah.
With that being said, it's like, I respect, I kind of said it jokingly, but I do respect everything that he's done for our country. He's served under 6 presidents. That's one of the talking points I saw on, on the media. But I just think that whenever you combine that, like, you have no authority over the government. You have definitely no authority over the military. And you have no clue about the economy. You're a doctor. That's what you're expert at. You're not an expert economist. So don't tell us what you can and can't open. Now, when we work together with businessmen and you are the one who's helping form and shape their opinion and they're shaping your opinion, now we're getting somewhere. So just stay a team and let's not fire him. I think he's doing a good job, but let's not Dr. Fauci is the answer. He's the all-knowing messiah of diseases, because no one's like that.
I think that this conversation highlights kind of it's a weird dynamic between the president and Fauci. Fauci is someone who I believe likes the spotlight. He just loves going up there on the stage.
Dude, he's been on every
ego's been pumped up.
YouTube,
YouTube
TV, CNN, Fox, everything.
This is his moment to shine. So I don't want to discount any work that he's doing, but you got 2 egomaniacs on the stage together. Donald Trump, who is an insane egomaniac. I love the guy. I like his policies. I'm going to probably most likely vote for him this next go around. Most likely, unless something happens. I don't understand why Fauci and Trump are butting heads on this. This should be a simple thing to kind of figure out the response to something. Now, you take a look at Fauci and his record, and obviously serving under 6 presidents or 5 presidents, that's amazing. Everything that he's done is great, but he has no right to kind of stab the president in the back on CNN or MSNBC or Fox News. He's gone on these shows, and every time he goes on, he goes by himself. He's not necessarily standing next to the president where he's held accountable. And he stabs the president in the back. Yeah, if this could have been done sooner. Yeah, of course if if we would have known about this in December when we were supposed to know because of the Chinese government hiding from us, we could have stopped this for sure. I mean, we could have banned travel immediately before case 0, right? It's all hypothetical. It's not rational, and it's not. It doesn't make sense. It's not useful.
I think that Dr. Fauci is like the personification. Well, mechanics are people, but he's like the personification of a mechanic, right? And the nation is a car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump is the driver of the car. He's the leader of the United States. He's taking us in his direction. And then the mechanic kind of diagnoses the country, which is the car. Okay, so that's the way that I see Dr. Fauci. So he just goes back and forth, and that's what annoys me a little bit. He's like the mechanic where he's like, well, your engine could have not broke down, but only if you brought in your oil 3 months ago, even though you changed your oil only 2 months ago. So think about that. Like,
it could have some effect, but we're not seeing it. Actually,
or like, hey, if you wouldn't have driven your car and if you would have got it towed to my warehouse where I can fix your car, then your car would be totally fine. No duh. But guess what? No one knew that it was gonna break down. No one knew that the engine gasket was gonna blow. So am I supposed to take the car in? Are we always supposed to quarantine and do nothing?
Should we do it every day?
Maybe whenever results happen where it's like, my car isn't running right. And it's not even like the car blew up. Like, there's a little sputter. People are starting to get COVID-19. Now let's take it to the mechanic, Dr. Fauci. That's the illustration I would put it. And I think it's a disgrace to act like he knows. Like dude, there's literally video of him on CNN, on Fox News, on every major station that's like, nah, the president's doing the right thing. A matter of fact, he said that we shouldn't shut down the entire economy. He's like, nah, we shouldn't at first. So pick your place, buddy, and just stay there. Because you might be an expert on health, but you're not an expert on looking like you know what you talk about whenever you're jumping everywhere. And I think Trump knows that. Like, bro, who wants to have an employee that's going to stab you in the back like that?
I want to do something countercultural right now.
Okay. Oh, no.
Give me a handshake.
Oh.
Dr. Fauci wants to get rid of those.
Yeah.
This guy just said that he hopes handshakes die forever. Right?
Oh.
To me, the man is an extremist. He's so microscopically into his allergies and infectious diseases that he knows everything about them, but he doesn't have a realistic view of reality.
Like, I just wonder if
a handshake is something that you give to your fiance's dad when you ask for her hand in marriage. A handshake is something that closes a business deal. A handshake is something that you do at church. It's respectful, right?
Although
let's just forget about it. It's. I wish this would have died a long time ago. I hope coronavirus kills the handshake.
Well, I'm not gonna
really, Tony.
Your hand was a little sweaty. I don't know if you're nervous for this or something. So he might be onto something. But no, all jokes aside, like, I don't think this guy has ever gotten a mortgage or went to the bank to go, sign documents, or I don't know what he's done. But like, dude. What am I going to do? Be like, all right, the mortgage is signed. Like, no. Yeah. And by the way, you don't even need to anymore. Like, this is all elective to begin with. Because guess what? I go onto my cell phone. I go onto my laptop. I go in. I type it in. I got my loan documents signed. I can get a mortgage there. Okay, I can get the title company to come to my home. And then literally all I have to do is digitally sign. Like, man, Dr. Fauci, man, you're a good guy. But just pick what you think.
I respect your work. I really am glad that you're helping lead the president through this. Stay in your lane, though. It's not your job to say when the country should open or not open. Your job is to tell the president the facts and only the facts, and maybe some of your opinion on what he could do.
And I think he's actually a cool guy for like a doctor.
He's a cool guy. He's talkative.
But when I think of my doctor, I think of like, well, your blood pressure came back. All right. Like, this guy's cool. So I'm not dissing him. Like, this guy, Dr. Fauci, he knows what he's doing. But he's not a politician, so don't try to be one.
Yeah, don't try to be one.
And we don't even want politicians to try to be politicians. Maybe if everyone was like Dr. Fauci, that's cool. But politicians know that the media will absolutely stab you in the back, and that there's really no chance, to rebound from that. Like, whenever he did that, it looked like he forsaken Trump. Like, it's just like, all right, screw you.
I mean, he did. He forgot about Trump. He forgot about a lot of his team, and he's going out because he wants to be the head honcho. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work like that. He's not even the Surgeon General, right? Yeah. He there's people who are technically ahead of him. He's been assigned this because of his work on HIV, and apparently the virus reacts in a similar way as HIV does. That's why there's pneumonia. That's why that's why it's so infective, really.
That's why I gotta wash my hands as soon as we're done.
Yeah, exactly. And we're gonna wash our hands, and we're gonna go wear face masks when we go outside because we're gonna be responsible individuals. But it's not anybody's job to tell us you can't go to work. We're closing down shop. Good luck, boys. Because you're not paying the rent.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So deal with it, Fauci. I hope you don't get fired, but I would understand if you did. That's all I'm going to say.
I think so, too. Now, this is kind of a fun thing. You just mentioned face mask and all that stuff. What is the coolest looking face mask that you saw on social media? Because I know, yes, it's serious, but people have been decking out their face masks. Like, I saw someone try to make, an Austin Mahone replica of all these diamond studded masks and stuff. So I was just wondering, have you seen anything cool?
I saw a guy do the Venom, the not cartoon character, but Marvel character Venom with the teeth. Like I saw one of those. I thought it was pretty cool, and maybe I would like to have goggles that you can put over your eyes. That way nobody can see where you're looking. You just look completely like Venom. I think that would be pretty cool. But
I saw a Minion one online the other day. I was like, oh, all the Starbucks girls are going to be running to this one. Oh yeah, this is great. So I saw a few funny ones. I think another one of the funny ones was I saw one where it was like a mustache, like
yeah,
it was like an actual like piece of fur over top of it, and who knows if it's healthy or not? It might not be too good. But and that, by the way, that's another funny conversation. Like the CDC and the World Health Organization at the very beginning of this whole thing was like, men, shave your beards. Like, bro, what are you going to do?
Toxic masculinity at its finest, having a beard.
Yeah,
disgusting.
If you have a beard, it's disgusting. You're passing viruses through, and we demand that you shave it off. Like, okay.
I got to tell you.
Girls, cut your long hair because you might get spaghetti sauce in it. I don't know what you're doing.
Gum.
Yeah, like, okay, that's great, but doesn't really affect me. I don't think that having a small beard is... Listen, if you're sick,
you're getting sick.
You're getting sick, buddy.
I got to tell you, I had a funny conversation on Sunday over the weekend. It was Easter, and the tradition in our house, at least our house, and probably most of the houses in America, is coloring eggs and dyeing eggs, painting it, sketching it.
We didn't get to do it this year.
We didn't get to do it this year. I was really bummed out.
I always win.
We usually do it with our grandparents, our parents, us, and a lot of our cousins and other relatives. So kind of a bummer. But on a positive note, I called my mom. I said, hey, what are you guys doing for Easter? Are you guys doing anything special? And she said, oh, we're coloring our face mask. And so, like, she was designing her face mask. She was like cutting them, and I Snapchatted her later, and it looked really good. So to answer your original question, I think that was my favorite mask, and I thought it was funny. It had a little bit of the Easter flair. I just thought it was hilarious that keep the tradition alive in varying forms. So I liked it. I thought it was funny. Shout out, Ma. Love ya. Keep it up.
All right. Last thing, obviously, before we're going to wrap up. And, by the way, guys, before we do wrap up, check us out on Facebook, too. That's something that we haven't mentioned. We have a Facebook.
Twin Talk.
So we can post all these videos to there. And we also have our YouTube
Twitter
channel. We got a Twitter. Those are cool things.
Tell them the names. Our Twin Talk is Twin Talk Tweets.
Yeah. Twin Talk Tweets.
Twin Talk Tweets.
Tongue twister.
It sounds like Margaret Robbie or whatever. Twin Talk Tweets.
Yeah.
Like in Wolf
Twin
of Wall
Talk
Street.
Tweets. Okay. That's on Twitter. And then on Facebook, you can just look us up, Twin Talk. We're like one of the first profiles.
We're Twin Talk on YouTube as well.
Yeah. So we have those. And I think that we're really excited.
Oh, and we're sorry to interrupt. We're the Real Twin Talk on Instagram.
He wanted the real. I was like, bro,
we might change the name a little bit later, but
we're gonna keep it because we already have it. So
yeah.
But yeah. So anyways, the last thing I was gonna ask you is, what's something that you're looking forward to, like tonight?
Tonight,
you gonna scroll social media? I'm
gonna go through social media. I'm probably gonna go out to my 65-inch 4K big TV, and honestly, probably gonna put on maybe one of the Avengers. We're trying to go through the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Pretty cool. Howard Stark, that guy's the real hero. I love Howard Stark.
So we might do that. I don't know. I have more like longer term plans. As soon as this lifts up, I know I'm gonna sound basic, but I want to go to Starbucks. Oh. I want to see the buzz in the air again.
You're perfect for the Minion.
I want to go. I want to go to Starbucks.
It's you.
I want to go to Walmart and shop and not worry about it. I might still keep my mask on, but I just want to do those simple things. And then I can tell you one thing I want to do. I want to go to Busch Gardens in Tampa or SeaWorld in Orlando. We're in a strategic location where we can go to both. It's about the same amount of drive. Yeah. I think I want to do one of those.
Yeah,
that might be a little bit farther down the road.
If we do it, we'll get it on film. Well, those rides are pretty scary, but we'll get it on film for you guys.
Yeah.
And so we're pretty excited for that. I think one of the things I'm looking forward to, I'm watching the ESPN like throwbacks or whatever. Tonight's Kobe night. Because yesterday I think it was, or maybe that's today even. It's been like 4 years since Kobe dropped his 60-point game in his finale.
I think it was yesterday.
Yeah. So they're, anyways. Regardless, they're rerunning it. So I'm actually looking forward to the Magic versus Lakers just because I don't know how the Magic made that final. So
yeah,
that'll be a fun one to watch. But
also I rewatched Tiger Woods' final Masters victory from last year.
I watched
Today's
it live.
the 1 year anniversary of that today. We love you, Tiger. Go Tiger. Tiger, and we hope Tiger likes Twin Talk. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, that's a lot of
Twin Talk loves Tiger.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, guys, we hope that you enjoyed the show. We're super happy that we've been able to do this.
Like, subscribe, comment below.
It's like the basic YouTuber again. But if you guys would like to subscribe or that's something that gets our channel going. And I think it's something that we look forward to making for you guys every day. And not only do we hope that we can look forward to it, but we hope that you guys can too. And just remember, we're two normal twins, just talking, hanging out, and kind of enjoying it all. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a good one.
Don't forget to wash your hands.
Yeah.